exams after the defeat of Stain. The credit would go to Hawks and Endeavor since Hawks defeated Stain with them. So, let's do some let's go into their hero name choosing. Everyone would choose theirs, except for Christian, which he would go last. He says, alright, I thought deeply about this hero name, and it goes perfectly with my quirk. He says, the Frost Hero, sheer cold. They go, whoa! They go, sheer cold, sheer cold. He goes, and why would you choose that name? I'm not saying it's bad, I just want to know. He says, watch this. He says, my quirk was originally going to be called sheer cold, but they changed it up to Sub-Zero because it sounds much better. He says, oh, that's pretty smart. Now moving on to the provisional hero license exams. Not the provisional hero license. The ones where the exam where it's 2-on-2. It's Christian. I'm gonna join Kaminari and Mina. I'm gonna join their team. So, of course, they're the first. Christian says, alright guys, let's go. He says, Mina says in her head, yes, we have a Todoroki on our team. We're definitely gonna win. Christian creates an ice path that goes up in the air. An ice spike that makes they fly up in the air going, here. Until Christian goes, and suddenly they reach the exit, and Nezu would appear saying, you're not going anywhere. Christian says, oh really, old man? Let's go. They rush at each other. Christian says, you guys, try and get in. I'll fight him. He activates ice in both hands and goes, then they rush at each other. Everyone is watching how good he is in close range against Principal Nezu. The principal. Even Aizawa is shocked at how he's doing against Nezu. Nezu's pretty strong. Then he goes for a punch, but then disappears, and then punches Nezu right in the back. He goes, but Nezu is way too fast, a lot faster. He goes, dang it, I can't get him. He goes, then he stands still, closing his eyes. But then Nezu starts to shiver, going, it's coming way colder. But I didn't see him place an ice orb anywhere. He goes, then Principal Nezu jumps at him, going, ha! He says, nah. Then annoyed the ice would move up and trap him, going, Christian would go to say, ice! But then then he realizes the ice orb was right behind him, and he never realized. There was two of them. There was one on his back and one one above him. Christian goes down, but somehow he slips out of the ice, going. He says, "How?" Then he stands still again, going for that same strategy. He says, "The same strategy's not gonna work," but then stops because he knows he's gonna do it. But then he says, "Not this time." He goes for a strike. Christian just blocks it and then puts his foot down, saying. Then going, you played right into my trap, Nezu. Then he grabbed both of his hands, grabbed both of Nezu's paws, going, Gah! So he grabs both of Nezu's paws, saying, "It's over now." He goes, "What do you mean?" He says, "Blizzard!" And a giant blizzard comes from all four corners, going. Everyone says, Kaminari and Mina say, "Whoa!" He goes, freezing Nezu. Then he goes and jumps out of the blizzard, then going in. Then they all pass. Christian goes, When they're about to go, Kaminari gets kicked back, and so does Mina. Christian says, "Damn it!" He says, "You guys try. Let's use teamwork." She goes, "Right." They say, "Right." He creates ice spikes going towards Nezu. Nezu dodges, and Kaminari uses electricity already. Then Christian says, "Nice." Then he moves his fingers to the left, and then the ice spikes curve. He says, "What?" Then Mina shoots acid behind him, so he doesn't know. Then, when he tries to back up, he's hit by the acid, going, then he's hit by the ice spikes. Didn't I really do pass this time? I'm just going to go into the arc. The kidnapping of, who's the target? I won't tell you. I know, it's great. So when they arrive there, they'd just be doing cork training. Chris would try and release as much ice as he can. He goes, ah! Creating a whole load of ice, going. When Class 1B sees this, they're like, whoa, that is a lot. And I mean a lot. Because, like, they see a humongous tectonic ice pillar. He goes, ah! Then they also see Bakugo doing explosions and Todoroki sitting in a boiling water pool. Person goes, ah! Using as much of his power as possible. This time Kaminari wouldn't fail. Along with Mina wouldn't either. Christian goes, ah! Broom, broom, broom. But then I see normal fire coming from him going, broom. Then Vlad takes a closer look at him and says, Aizawa, one of your students' hair, it's taking a tint of red. He says, oh yeah, he is. But then, the next day, on the third day, this he is half of his head is purely red. Then he says that he can use fire now. He goes, okay, no, he can't. He can just melt it. He goes, now let's just go on to the attack, the kidnapping. Person's running around, going, woohoo! Then he's closing his eyes. Then he's about to get stabbed, but then he catches him and breaks it. He breaks the knife and says, Himiko Toga, huh? He goes, how do you know my name? He says, villain, duh, stupid. He says, oh, I'm popular. He says, no, remember me? The kid that froze you? He says, oh yeah, you! I want my revenge! Ah! And goes for a stab. He freezes her, then stomps, going. He goes, ah! Getting frozen, but then blue fire comes from behind her and burns it off. Doesn't just, he goes, then he jumps to the left, saying, you are not that intelligent. But then he looks at Dobby. He says, so, Dobby, huh? But then he sees something, water is dripping down on his hand. He says, what the? Then he says, my goal right now is to pull up his sleeve to see what's there that's making his arm drip. Then Toga rushes at him. He goes and breaks her arm and slams her to the ground, going, then he goes and kicks Dobby in the face, then pulls up his sleeve and says, then he goes into a blind rage and grabs Dobby by the throat and chokes him. Then Himiko goes for a stab. He slaps the knife away and chokes her too, going, till Himiko passes out, going, then throwing her, going, he says, now you, Dobby, why do you have this? He goes, what do you mean? He says, this belongs to my brother Toya Todoroki. You should not have this. He says, how do you know it belongs to him? He says, because I made it. He goes, then crushes his throat, trying to crush it, going, but then Aizawa says, stop. He says, no, I will not stop. And then he starts to squeeze even harder, going, he goes, go. He goes, then he throws Dobby's sword into a tree that it breaks his spine almost. He says, why are you doing that? He's a villain, so what? You can't kill him. He says, I should. He says, what's so bad about him that you want to kill him? He says, the reason that he has my missing brother's bracelet that I made myself. He says, it just started to melt after years. There's no way he's Toya, because if it was Toya, he would not be evil, he says. But then he says, hold on. He creates an ice ball, then melts it, creating into water, and then he somehow wields that water and shoots it at him, brushing his hair, like, hitting his hair, but then his hair starts to fade, turning white. He sees whiteness. He goes, what the? But Toya's hair is red. Isn't it? Then he goes and touches Dobby's hair, saying, this is... Then he wipes his saying. Then Dobby spits out blood, going. He says, "You really got me, huh?" He looks at his hand, going, looking up and down, then going, I'll be right back. I need my phone for this. Please no. They have a giant frame of silence because my phone's charging, and when it finishes charging, once it gets to 1% or something, I'll be able to play it. He's just surprised. Well, Dobby spits more blood onto his hand. He's not doing this on purpose, it's just what's happening. But then Toadvig says, "Die!" He goes and punches her so far back that it breaks her jaw. And then he touches Toya's hair, or Dobby's hair, and goes and sees a red tint in it. He says, "Give me a second, wait for it to charge." Tanko Shimura, aka Tango Midoriya, aka Hisashi Midoriya, aka Tomura Shigaraki. No, I'm kidding, that didn't make sense. That way. Don't ask why I'm doing this. I'm just waiting for my phone to charge so we can continue this. I'm just looking at people's ranks. Finally, someone who's not a higher rank than... What? Wait, what? How is that even possible? Oh, yeah. How are you a Jonin? Yeah, you can. I gotta stop putting my friends' names in this so I can start friending them. Yeah, you got it. Top 10 things that don't make sense. Things don't make no sense. Why is that 21,258 points? And that's only an S rank. And that's an S rank. And that's only an A rank, and that has 37,670. This man's 1% ratings. Excuse me. Wow, they don't even have Shinobi Striker. Their playtime is 5 hours. It's 15 hours. Is that even possible? Tenko Shimura. Yeah, you got that. Alright, I'll tell you guys when it comes back.